Good morning. Anyone here? Where are you guys at? Are we gonna start converting some globulars into our flat earth reality? How are you guys? Who's moderator? Can you guys hear me? All right, free speech. Well, trust me, the earth is free now out of the glove notion. That glove model not working. It's not doing anything good for humanity. It's a distraction. It's like, hey, look over here and distract you from the reality of your amazing inheritance. A beautiful planet love. Anyway, let's get going with this topic and let's see if we could share more information and develop a beautiful grid, reconnect all the dots on all our ancient pyramids and remap this world. Giza pyramid will be the zero and recreate a grid and amazing. We create this amazing grid of love and beauty and music. Yeah, the whole grid is music. Oh, that's right. No, but our platform is the flat earth, and that is the everything where we are in. Our platform is the flat earth. Everything apart from it. We could talk about NASA, but it's all an illusion with the NASA fakery and green screen, CGI, special effects. Yes, it's a mission. It is a rescue mission. This is a mission, and It's very hard for people to conceptualize that we were all living a lie. We're drinking out of ourselves. And it's just the beginning of our beautiful existence, an awareness, a conscious awareness of how beautiful this world is. And we need to debunk all that science that is not taking us anywhere. There's beautiful science out there that is really the new discoveries are these golden numbers, beautiful synchronicity. When you start synchronizing yourself into this amazing paradise, it's about reconnecting, grounding ourselves with the music, our numerology. You know what? I think the flat Earth Church under the dome is actually the notion that we're all already in the house of our Queen Creator, and we should show some reverence, to be reverent on it, and to cherish it, and walk with our bare feet and feel the connection, the glory, the technology that we're standing on, and grow more plants. Well, brother, be strong. I know you're the owner of the channel, and the abuse is always going to be there. But keep in mind that their eyes are closed. You should be proud of what you're doing here. You're doing a good thing for humanity. And we're going to get insults. That's the way they defend the glove, the deflated glove with insults. And we were all conditioned to respond in a very aggressive way. But we're gonna have the abuse, and but guess what? Assuming the globalers that they are the ones that are being deceived, and we're converting more globalers. We're helping more globalers involved in anything than any other conspiracy, because a true truth seeker will always land on our flat earth. But I'm very, very happy about this. Yeah, now there's nothing's going to be. Now we're really, really on track. We, we're starting to dismantle this, all that, uh, and walk a better path. We, that's all okay, so who else is here? Hello, guys. Can you still hear me? Hello? Hello? Hello, how are you guys? Can you hear me? let you say a sentence, maybe two, max. You all need to become better listeners, okay?
Just came onto the scene out of the clear blue. I'm listening to you motherfuckers. What?
Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into prison. For your mind.
Buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy. Kansas, going bye-bye.
You'll want to remember this moment as the last time you thought the flat earth was stupid.
Hello everyone, this is ODD, and yes, I'm finally admitting that even though I don't like labels, I'm a flat earther. Based on my research for the past 10 months, our world is very different from the model that we are being taught by the authority on the matter. It took me a while to come to terms with this, and it took even longer to gain the courage to talk about it. It can be pretty embarrassing to go against popular opinion, but this is real. It's not a psyop, it's not a distraction, and it's not a bandwagon. It's a reasonable debate. It's thousands of people taking what we've been told and comparing it to what we see and experience, only to find out that they do not match up. Once you start digging into this, it becomes clear that there is no evidence for the speculated spinning ball that we supposedly live on, and everything points to a flat Earth. The flat Earth is much more than just reasonable. The one and only reason that it's reasonable to argue against the flat Earth is that we've all been taught otherwise our whole lives. We blindly believe something that A, has never been proven, and B, is pretty much impossible. Thanks to people like Eric Dubay, the flat Earth has re-emerged and it has more steam than ever. Before I've ever even entertained the flat Earth, I knew not to trust the space programs of the world. Close examinations of NASA and other space programs reveal that things aren't what they seem and that we, the people, are being lied to. We have no real pictures of the Earth, and no matter how hard we try, we just can't find the curvature. Not only that, but flight paths make more sense on a flat map, and large bodies of water not being able to curve into a giant ball completely resonates.
Forensically speaking, the globe model is so very unlikely that any good detective wouldn't believe a word the globe says. The globe story is so full of circumstantial, impossible coincidences, which only prove that the globe is a flyer.
We'll be going over that in this video, as well as other reasons why the world isn't what we're led to believe. I appreciate you tuning in. Let's get started. Our daily observations of the Earth are consistent with a flat and stationary surface. Most, if not all, ancient civilizations knew that the Earth was flat. The people of today would say that ancient cultures were ignorant and unaware, yet they accomplished great feats that we still can't accomplish to this day. The truth is that they had real knowledge, and some of us only have an education. But what is an education? Education is when you are told what to think and how to think. Those that are able to remember and regurgitate what they've been told on command are considered well educated. But there is a big difference between being educated and being intelligent. Just because you believe what you've been told doesn't make it true. In fact, the flat versus spherical Earth is a debate that has never really died. It's been raging for centuries. It was a huge argument as recently as the early and mid-1900s, but with programs like NASA, founded in 1958, the latter half of the 20th century was a win for the spherical Earth. It wasn't a question for the average person anymore. Though at the time the shape of the Earth was still up to be proven, NASA claims that they went to the moon and captured a shot of the spherical Earth as if they always knew it was indeed spherical.
Those of you who think this technical difficulty was planned and think I'm scamming you, go do it for yourself. Because you're going to find the exact same thing. I got nothing to hide here. This is live on the air, okay? I'm going to zoom in on the Earth in Photoshop. You see the Earth? To image, adjust, levels, and I'm going to bring the levels over here. And I'm going to bring the levels up. Uh-oh. What is that? Why is there a square box around the Earth allegedly taken from the scientists on the moon in Apollo 17? And people wonder why I don't trust NASA. That's why I don't trust NASA. I mean, they're always out there saying, you know, Rob, everybody's trying to show you stuff from space, and you keep rejecting it. This is why I reject it. These guys are liars. you know?
What are some of the basic observations someone can make to ascertain that the Earth is neither a globe or spinning?
We've been taught that we're on a ball spinning around the sun, and so to hear that you might be on a flat plane, motionless at the center of the universe with all the celestial bodies spinning around you, just as it appears, actually comes as a surprise. But it shouldn't, because our eyes, experience, and common sense all tell us that the horizon is perfectly flat, and if we feel motionless, we don't hear ourselves whizzing by at thousands of miles per hour. No matter how high amateur rockets or balloons have gone up, the horizon rises to the eye of the observer all the way up, and that's only consistent with a flat plane. Their theory just gets more and more wild as time has gone on. And so, yeah, it began with the spinning Earth going 1,000 miles per hour, which is then circling around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, which then they decided the sun wasn't a heliocentric model, but more of an acentric model, where they don't know where the center is, and we're just exploding out of a big bang. So the sun, we're spinning around the sun, and then the sun and us are spinning around the Milky Way galaxy, they say, at 500,000 miles per hour. And then the entire Milky Way galaxy, they say, is shooting off from the Big Bang at 670 million miles per hour, almost the speed of light. So there's at least 4 rip-raging, contradictory motions supposedly going at all times, yet you don't experience any of it, nor can you measure any of it using the stars. The flat motionless Earth is not only is it the greatest conspiracy of all, it's also the easiest to prove. I mean, it just is flat and motionless, just as it appears. Look into it more and more, make it a thing to try and debunk it, if you will. You know, even if you want to do it that way. Negative reinforcement works too. Try as you will, you're only going to find proofs for the flat motionless Earth. You're not going to confirm that you're on a spinning ball.
The curvature of the Earth eludes us. Either the Earth is much larger in circumference than we are told, or the curve just doesn't exist. People assume that there is a curve, but it's never really been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Cameras with fisheye lenses, Hollywood movies, and NASA CGI are the closest we get to seeing curvature.
The deception and the lies are just so pervasive, and they're just so deep that I swear it gives me a headache.
The surface of water is always level. This is just natural physics. We know this, that water, if unobstructed and uncontained, will flow outwards, finding it the easiest course to maintain its own level, right? So, but the Ball Earth model claims that the oceans are huge 100-mile walls of curved water curving around the ball. That's ridiculous. They say that gravity makes this possible, but you don't see that. You go to the beach, you see completely flat horizon, you see water just ever so gently coming up on the shore.
So there's the pretty blue marble that NASA claims we are living on, with circumference of 24,901 and 3959 radius. So to find a curvature, you take 8 inches times your distance squared. That's 8 inches times your distance squared, and if you don't square the distance, you end up with this, and this is not what NASA has shown us. They have given us a beautiful blue marble that we love. So you get 8 inches for 1 mile, 32 inches in 2 miles, 16.6 feet with 5 miles, so on and so forth. So what I did is I shot this pier, which is in Daytona Beach, Florida. And as you can see, between the water and the walkway of the pier is about 12 to 16 feet based on the height of the people and the railing. So I started at Granada, which is 4.92 miles away, and I shot this, and based on that distance and the formula, there should be 16 feet of curvature, but obviously you can still see the entire gap under the walkway there between that and the water. So in addition to that, behind that pier is actually a lighthouse, which you can see right above the pier. You can see the light. That is 16 miles away from my location. And I shot that lighthouse. Now that lighthouse is 175 feet tall, and the curvature from 16 miles away should be 170 feet. You can clearly see about the entire lighthouse beyond that pier. So like I said, there should be 170 feet of curvature, but there's none. And those hotels there are even further. Those are in New Smyrna, which is 20 miles. If NASA is right, and we do live on a ball, they're going to have to make up that curvature. If it's not in the 20 miles I'm shooting, well, then that means it's got to be made up further on down the line. So you can't have it both ways. You can't say we live on this ball and then say, oh, you can't detect the curvature. Well, you got to detect it somewhere, because if it's not dropping here, it's going to have to drop even more down the lines in order to make that circle, that ball they say we live on. And it's pretty round. That blue marble they give us is perfectly round.
Lighthouses are one great example. The Isle of Wight Lighthouse in England, it's 180 feet high and can be seen up to 42 miles away, a distance at which modern astronomers say the light should fall 996 feet below the line of sight. Why can you still see it? Another one worth mentioning that people be familiar with is the Statue of Liberty. It stands 326 feet above sea level, and on a clear day can be seen as far as 60 miles away. Now, if the Earth was a globe at the dimensions that they give us, that would put Lady Liberty at an impossible 2,074 feet below the horizon.
No, not one picture of the Earth. Imagine that. 2016, and we still don't have a picture of our home. Thousands of satellites supposedly orbiting the Earth. Why can't we get thousands of pictures? One shot with the whole Earth in it. Hell, we should have a channel on cable that shows the Earth rotating 24 hours a day, every day. Nope. Let's listen to NASA's very own Robert Simmons talk about how we get our fake pictures of Earth.
In 1972, we saw our home in a new way. Apollo 17 astronauts snapped this picture.
It gave people the first look at their home planet as a single entity.
Last week, scientists at NASA released this. The shot is compiled from data from NASA's VEERS instrument, which orbits the Earth about every 100 minutes, taking measurements of light coming off the planet. That can be translated into ribbons of imagery like this, and then into one of these. And this is just the latest in NASA's Earth from Space album, which may be one of the most mind-expanding collections of images in human history. Then in 2002, Blue Marble 2.0, NASA's Rob Simmons made this. Simmons' job is...
It's primarily taking data and making pictures out of it.
That's what this is, a composite of data sets from several different instruments translated into a picture.
So we actually had to take clouds out.
They stashed the clouds for later, went onto the ocean. That came from an instrument that measures phytoplankton in the sea.
Where it was low, I colored it dark blue because they're low mostly in mid-oceans. And then where it's a little bit higher, it was like a little bit brighter green.
Then add the clouds back in.
There's a small problem with it because there's a very slight gap in between each orbit.
So some of those are painted on.
It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Then
there was another layer to sort of simulate the atmosphere.
And then there's this little bright spot.
It's called the specular highlight. So it's the reflection of sunlight off of water.
Those are the pieces, but you can't just slap them all together.
It just didn't look realistic. It looks kind of flat, or the clouds are sort of too see-through. So I just hit Command Z a lot.
There's artistry to creating the world.
What I imagine it to be. Unfortunately, I'm not an astronaut. I've never been to space. But I've looked at these images over and over again, trying to sort of get the essence of it. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be. It is photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Excuse me, I'm allergic to bullshit. Not having one authentic picture of the Earth alone is a huge red flag.
Christoph, let me ask you. Why do you think that Truman has never come close to discovering the true nature of his world until now?
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
The flat Earth model is a working model. It's by no means definitive due to the nature of this massive cover-up. For the past 500 years, we've been completely buying into the Copernicus heliocentric model. But what we do know about the flat Earth is based on the azimuthal equidistant map that seems to be working out. This map goes as far back as the year 1000 and possibly earlier, now used as an official map by the U.S. Geological Survey and also as the official logo for the United Nations. Is this our real home being hidden from us in plain sight? I think it is. The first thing a lot of people say is, where's the edge? Well, look at this map where Antarctica is a 360-degree ice barrier that holds the water in. These ice walls are real, and they stand 150 feet above the surface of the water. Then you need to understand that there is no independent access to Antarctica. Average people can only go there on a guided tour. It has no towns, no cities, and no permanent residences. What's past the 150-foot ice wall is anyone's guess. How far the ice extends, how it terminates, and what exists beyond it. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 by 12 nations and more later on, states that Antarctica is for peaceful purposes only. No military activities, just scientific research and government exploration. Expeditions by any party must be discussed in advance. It's the longest and most successful treaty between nations. The treaty also states that there are ships, stations, and equipment to ensure compliance of the treaty. Sounds like military activity to me. Anyway, so this azimuthal equidistant map appears to be correct for the most part. Over the centuries, there's been other maps that look pretty close to it as well. Let's look at an interesting story that was recently in the news that supports this flat map. A woman gave birth on a flight from Bali to Los Angeles, so the flight made an emergency landing in Alaska. Here's what it would look like on a globe. Now, here's what it would look like on a flat Earth. Which one makes more sense? Exactly. A big issue I was having with the flat Earth for the longest time was the sunrise and sunsets. I realized that it was a perspective issue. First, you must understand that the sun is not 93 million miles away. If it was, we would never see anything like this here. This is concentrated because it's closer. It's much more probable that the sun is only a few thousand miles away and that it's the same size as the moon. Once you comprehend this, all of a sudden, solar eclipses make sense. Holy fucking shit! Something that makes sense! Okay, so the sun is close, which gives it the ability to spotlight the area that it's over, and when it leaves your view, due to perspective, it takes the light with it. There is a generous amount of light where the sun is at, but since it's so close, it doesn't spread its light like it would if it were bigger and further. The sun circumnavigates the Earth like a huge clockwork. Sometimes that takes a while to sink in. All right, let's talk about the Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect states that when a moving object leaves the ground, the Earth continues to rotate, meaning that when shooting a gun at a certain distance, the bullet would be a little off due to the Earth's rotation. If that's the case, then airplanes would have to account for the Coriolis effect, but they don't. This is only a few things that work better on a flat, motionless Earth. Do you need 100 excuses as to why you're not feeling any motion or seeing any curvature? Are those excuses easier to believe? Or is it easier to use Occam's razor and go with what our senses are telling us? The Earth is flat and not spinning.
Now, real quick, let's kind of just explain the Coriolis effect in layman's terms. The Coriolis effect is the effect that when the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, it is actually leaving the surface of the Earth. So as the bullet leaves the barrel of the gun, the Earth is still rotating. and the bullet is not rotating with the Earth. So the Earth will actually rotate out from underneath of the bullet while it is in flight.
This one is a touchy subject. This whole fucking video is a touchy subject. So anyway, this one's hard to get across to people big time. But outer space is up for debate. Space programs are compartmentalized, and most astronauts are Freemasons that have to swear an oath of secrecy when dealing with the so-called missions. The thing is that there is so much footage of NASA and other space agencies making mistakes. Sometimes we could see bubbles in the spacewalks. Sometimes we could see harnesses and wires on the people in the International Space Station. The permed hair that moves nothing like it would in zero gravity. These are huge red flags. Not to mention the Van Allen radiation belt. The Van Allen radiation belt is a layer of energetic charged particles that is held in place around a magnetized planet such as Earth by the planet's magnetic field. Sounds kind of like a dome if there is one. Oddly enough, one of NASA's employees admitted that this radiation belt needs to be figured out before humans could pass through it. Listen closely.
As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Let's talk about satellites. We've already discussed how there are no pictures of the Earth. So are satellites even real? Not likely. Ground towers are built all over the world and are more than adequate to relay our television, radio, and cell phone service.
All GPS is done through land-based towers, and things like Google Earth are taken with high-altitude planes, and most of them are just done with cars on street level. Did you know that satellites were actually invented by Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction author?
I didn't know that.
They shortly became science fact after that. The geostationary satellite, look it up. It was created by a science fiction author. And then within a decade, NASA claims to have sent a real one up there. And ever since then, that's where we get all our communications from.
So if satellites were real, we would constantly hear stories of them being hit by meteors or comets, and that doesn't happen. No one's ever lost their direct TV feed during the Perseids meteor shower because one of the meteors knocked out one of the satellites. It doesn't happen, it's never happened, and it won't happen. And that to me tells me there is no satellites. You would constantly be worried about them, and you would constantly hear about them having something happen, and it's so rare that you hear that.
So you may or may not have heard the term cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is when new information challenges your beliefs and you just can't let go. It's just like that scene in The Matrix.
No. I don't believe it. It's not possible. Stop. Let me out! Let me out! I want out!
We have a rule. We never free a mind once it's reached a certain age.
It's not easy going through this kind of deception and then realizing that your whole life was spent thinking and believing one thing when it's the opposite. Nobody wants to feel like they've been fooled, like they've been had. I'm a human just like you, and I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that I'd be on this kind of journey, this journey of realization and reckoning, this journey of putting everything I know to the side so I can absorb information that seems ridiculous, yet so sensible. It's time to say fuck it. It's not your fault that you were wrong. It's not your fault that you fell for a trick that the whole world also fell for. I'm right here with you. It's time to take down your mental barrier and recognize that we have a lot of work to do in order to find out what this place really is and why we're here. It's not to be slaves of the dollar. It's not to be slaves of the clock. Our reality is being manipulated and hidden from us. Please wake up and try to awaken those around you. So how did this happen? Okay, let's start in the classroom. The first time anybody enters a school classroom, they are introduced to the globe model of the Earth. This three-dimensional scale model of the Earth that has never been proven was invented in the 1400s. Fast forward to 1927, a big-budget movie company called Universal Pictures came out with its movie intro, and guess what? The spinning ball Earth still hasn't been proven. This is 30 years before NASA was founded. Over the years, Universal kept coming out with similar logo intros, and to this day, we see the spinning ball Earth before many of the movies that we watch. Besides, there are countless movies about outer space that use the same model. We have been indoctrinated, and it's as simple as that. For the spherical Earth to remain unproven after this long is a wake-up call to everybody that lives here. We need to shed this programming right here, right now, and find out what the fuck is going on. No more embracing this sick illusion that was created by psychopaths. I'm going to keep searching for answers and trying to make something happen. All I want to know is, who's coming with me?
We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
I'd like to be an explorer, like the Great Magellan.
Oh, you're too late. There's really nothing left to explore.
Right before your surgery, I asked if you had packed your cell phone, and you said, which one?
When? Skylar, I was medicated. I mean, I could have said the world was flat.
You know what I think? I think you accidentally told the truth.
The world was flat.
You know what I think? You accidentally told the truth.
The world was flat.
You know what I think? You accidentally told the truth.
really the evidence shows me that it's flat and stationary. There is much more evidence based on just pure analysis that it's flat and stationary.
So it's not actually a sphere. It's oblate, and officially it's an oblate spheroid. That's what we call it. But not only that, it's slightly wider below the equator than above the equator.
A little chubbier.
A little chubbier.
Yeah.
Chubby is a good way. It's like pear shaped.
Really, we're in big trouble as far as lack of critical thinking and lack of free thinking. We really are in big trouble. We need to step it up as far as the awakening goes. You really need to put your thinking cap on, and you really need to start to look at these things and look at them with a critical eye and with a critical mind.
$1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat.
Hey there, Flat Earth researchers and debaters. This is ODD, and this is a follow-up to my video entitled True World, which is a 30-minute rundown of the Flat Earth phenomenon. The response to that video is incredible. I can't even keep up with the comments. Every other second I hear, "Dude, look at the moon. That proves we're on a sphere." "My dad is an airline pilot. This theory is garbage." You know what I mean? Some arguments don't even make sense. It's like, "I ate a chicken pot pie last night for dinner. How does that work on the flat Earth? Huh? I can relate when people are wondering how the sun works and what's the benefit of hiding this from us. But to say that Earth must be a sphere because other things look like they might be spheres is foolish. There is Earth, what we are on, teeming with life and providing us with what we need to be able to sustain or destroy, to build civilizations on a vast flat surface where large bodies of water are incapable of curving. Earth, where curvature and motion cannot be detected. And then there's other celestial bodies that aren't teeming with life, and we really don't know what they are or what they look like up close. Science batters itself impotently against the barriers of the unknown. All we get is CGI from NASA and friends. The spherical Earth paradigm is coming to an end. But was this meant to happen, or are we really unveiling something that was to remain hidden? Are we getting the full picture, or is this just the tip of the iceberg? Either way, I'm dedicated to this journey, and I'm honored to live in such an exciting time. Let's keep tearing NASA apart, including all the other space programs. It's one of the main keys in understanding the flat Earth. Once someone sees how much deception is interwoven throughout these agencies, it's easier to grasp this grand conspiracy and how it was achieved. As always, we'll be going over that and much more in this video. I appreciate you tuning in. Let's get started.
Where is the curvature? Where?
Where's the curvature? Where? I still haven't been able to find any curvature since I put out my last video, and believe me, I've been looking. Ever since I came out as a flat earther, I've been examining things much more closely. It's as if I'm secretly hoping to find something that will lay this flat earth to rest, so I can get back to my normal life of exposing chemtrails and secret societies. It's just not happening. The more I look, the more I'm convinced, and the more I want to talk about it. There is no curve to be found or measured. And there's hints sprinkled all over the place, like this popular study, for instance. A study conducted by Department of Geography, Texas State University, and Department of Geography, Arizona State University, concludes that the state of Kansas is flatter than a pancake. On a scale where 1.0 means perfect flatness, the calculated flatness of the pancake is approximately 0.957. That's pretty flat, but Kansas is 0.9997 flat over its length of 400 miles, a distance that should render 20 miles of curvature from one side to the other on a sphere that's 25,000 miles in circumference.
And I've seen plenty of stuff at between 100,000 and 130,000 feet that's flat as a pancake.
No matter where you are above the surface of the Earth, the horizon always rises to your eye level. Doesn't matter if you're standing on a beach or up a hill or in a plane at 35,000 feet, the horizon is always at eye level. We know intuitively if we stand on a beach with a panoramic view that the sea is flat. It's flat at sea level, it's flat from the top of Mount Everest, it's flat from over 20 miles high.
In my efforts to try to prove the globe, it's falling apart with horizon tests and seeing things that we shouldn't be able to see. If the ball is real, the math shows that, you know, with the curvature, there are things we should not be able to see, and yet people are seeing it. So that has me really questioning the globe, and I don't question the math, because that math came from globalists. It came from people who believe the globe. So it's not math conjured up by flat earthers. I used to be a lifeguard on Ventura Beach, and on a good day, on a clear day, we could look out and see the Anacapa Arch. Well, the Anacapa Arch is almost 20 miles away, and it's only 40 feet high. So the math says that if we're on a ball, 25,000 mile circumference ball, that the top of that 40-foot island arch should be over 200 feet below our ability to see it on the other side of the curve.
I found this photo, Randmere State Park. This is from Joshua Nowicki, and what you're seeing here is a mirage. We typically would not be able to see this from the Lake Michigan shore. We talked about this last night. Conditions are right on the lake that we're actually seeing a mirage of the Chicago skyline. Very interesting. And here's what's happening. This is a good example of a superior mirage. So Joshua was on the Lake Michigan shore. He was looking towards the west, and Chicago's beyond the horizon. Should not be able to see it. However, with the right conditions, we have an inversion. We have cold air near the cold lake water and some relatively warmer air above it. This will bend the image of that skyline back towards the viewer. And so typically we would not be able to see this. This image would be viewable from much, much higher in the sky up in space. But instead, we're able to see it on the Lake Michigan shore.
Shut up, conspiracy theorist.
The horizon is not the curvature of the ball Earth. The horizon is just the vanishing line of perspective from your point of view. You can use a telescope or binoculars and zoom in on the horizon, and something that's been completely disappeared beyond the horizon, like a ship, can come all the way back into view, proving that that is not the curvature of the Earth you're looking at, as they tell you, but it's just the vanishing line of perspective from your point of view. And they used to use, and they still use that as a proof of the ball Earth. They say that ships going away, as you see their hulls disappear before the masthead, because they're going over the curvature of the Earth. Yet we've got technology now to prove that that's wrong, but they'll still keep saying it. I put it in my videos. I'll put it right here. I'll put it in this video of me talking about this right now. You may be watching this on YouTube. You're watching a horizon shot, seeing a boat that was out of view. Now it's completely into view, so you can see that that is not the curvature of the ball Earth, but there will still be 50 people in the comments section saying that that's the curvature of the ball Earth. The idea that people are standing, ships are sailing, and planes are flying upside down on certain parts of Earth, while others tilted at 90 degrees and all other impossible angles, is complete absurdity. The idea that a man digging a hole straight down could eventually reach sky on the other side is ludicrous. Common sense tells every free-thinking person correctly that there truly is an up and down in nature, unlike the everything is relative rhetoric of the Newtonian Einsteinian paradigm.
There's no curvature. It's wonderful. This is this is the most amazing thing ever. There's no curve. It's flat. Can you imagine? It's exactly what we see.
I cannot express this enough, but NASA is just not giving us the truth about what they know. This is crucial to understand. Forget about the flat Earth for a minute if you have to. Focus on NASA and research them for a few days or for a few weeks. If you can't tell that you're being deceived, then I'm afraid that there is no use for you in this cause anyway. Check out this NASA document describing a flat, motionless Earth. So I came across this paper. It's an official NASA document published in August 1988 called The Derivation and Definition of a Linear Aircraft Model. And it's jam-packed full of mathematic equations, formulas, and all sorts of other stuff that describe a linear aircraft model. What I found interesting was on page 35, it says this: concluding remarks. This report derives and defines a set of linearized system matrices for a rigid aircraft of constant mass flying in a stationary atmosphere over a flat, non-rotating Earth. I'll put a link to this in the description.
The other thing I'd like to mention at this point is how easily we can be fooled by two-dimensional imagery. We've been trained and conditioned to suspend disbelief when we see certain two-dimensional imagery, such as photographs. You know, a photograph is not reality. It's a photograph. And photographs can be altered and manipulated. Video is not reality. And here's some examples of that. Point is, you can't automatically trust any two-dimensional imagery or media that's presented to you by the establishment. When you try and search for a picture of Earth from space, you'll find surprisingly few of them. In fact, all of them, including this one, this is from NASA, it's called the Big Blue Marble. All of them are composites. NASA will freely admit to them being composite images or CGI or Photoshop.
It is Photoshopped, but it's has to be.
Even the one image that is claimed to be an actual photograph of Earth from space is called into question, simply because of a film that was released accidentally by NASA of Apollo 11 faking the very first picture of Earth from space. So let's have a look at that video.
An old reel received by mistake. It contains the raw or unedited footage of the crew of Apollo 11, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin Jr., and Neil Armstrong, staging part of their mission for nearly an hour in living color, with exceptionally clear behind-the-scenes audio of conversations discussing the techniques used to achieve a disingenuous picture depicting the Earth at a distance in order to falsely demonstrate their far journey from it and their ability to survive passing through the Van Allen radiation belts. It cannot be misconstrued that this staging was done for some other reason, for the reel itself is slated and dated July 18th, 19th, and 20th, 1969, the very days of the mission when they were said to be approaching and achieving lunar orbit. Understand, too, that only about 20 seconds of this raw footage was ever broadcast to the public, and these conversations discussing their deception were believed to be private, until now. Here they discuss that these television transmissions were in fact not broadcast live as everyone believed. They were first screened and edited for playback later.
Roger, Neil. We just wanted a narrative such that we can, when we get the playback, we can sort of correlate.
Here they discuss the fact that they have turned out the lights and have blocked out sunlight from entering the spacecraft through the other windows, as to not cause any reflected light to fall onto the spacecraft's wall in the foreground.
Okay, very good. Well, we shut out the sun coming in some of the other windows into the spacecraft, so it's looking through the number one window, and there isn't any reflected light.
The reason this was done is so that the truth of the matter would not be revealed.
The best example of space shuttle fakery is the Challenger disaster. In 1986, the shuttle Challenger exploded about 74 seconds after takeoff, killing all 7 astronauts inside. Or did it? It turns out that 6 of the 7 are still alive and kicking today. Ellison Onizuka claims to be his identical twin brother, Claude. Yeah, I've got an identical twin brother, Claude, too. The Challenger pilot, Mickey Smith, hasn't even bothered changing his name. He's now Professor Michael J. Smith of University of Wisconsin. Now, Krista McAuliffe was a bit of a sneaky one. She was the Challenger payload specialist, quite famous for being a teacher. It turns out during her astronaut days, she was using her middle name, Krista. And now she goes by her first name, Sharon. And she's a Syracuse law professor. The Challenger commander, Francis Richard Scobie, is now Dick Scobie, which sounds like a rather unpleasant disease, CEO of Cows in Trees Limited. Judith Resnick, the Challenger mission specialist, again hasn't even bothered changing her name. She's a professor at Yale Law. And finally, Ronald McNair, another Challenger mission specialist, claims to be his identical twin brother, Carl McNair. What are the odds? What most people don't realize is that all the characters in this story are all actors in the same club. As George Carlin put it.
Evidence that is coming from primarily NASA, the government, and the military. 3 organizations that have proven to be completely untrustworthy on numerous counts. If we were to put them on trial, they would all be guilty of being pathological liars.
All you have to do is lie on your back on a moonless night and look around carefully.
Yeah, occasionally you'll see something that looks kind of like a star, but it's moving. It's moving a little fast too, and that's actually a satellite.
Now, I do accept that you can look up into the night sky and see what we're told are satellites. I've done it myself. I've seen bright lights moving across the sky, but I have no idea what those things are. In this video, you can see several large, bright objects. However, none of them appear on any satellite tracking applications. When you look up at a jet airliner flying at 35,000 feet, you can only see it as a small dot. So how is it if something the size of a jumbo jet is rendered as a small dot at about 5 to 7 miles up, that you can see a satellite which is the size of between a car and a school bus at 100 miles away? You just wouldn't see it. There may be things that are way beyond the human mind's ability to comprehend.
I won't even go into stars here. Stars are still 100% a mystery. All we know is that they say that they are trillions of miles away. That's for you to believe or to not believe. But planets, okay, we can see them independently. They look like luminous objects in the distance. But without NASA CGI photos where shading is added, they can't be confirmed as spheres. Through my telescope, they don't appear to have life or livable terra firma. We simply don't know what they are, but they appear to just circle around us and have something to do with the mechanics of this reality. Just because something looks like a circle doesn't make something else a ball or an oblate spheroid.
It is claimed that the other planets are spheres, and so therefore Earth must also be a sphere. Firstly, Earth is a plane, not a planet, so the shape of these planets in the sky have no bearing on the shape of the Earth beneath our feet. Secondly, these planets have been known for thousands of years around the world as wandering stars, since they differ from the other fixed stars in their relative motions only. When looked at with an unprejudiced naked eye or through a telescope, the fixed and wandering stars appear as luminous disks of light, not spherical terra firma. The pictures and videos shown by NASA of spherical terra firma planets are all clearly fake computer-generated images and not photographs. The etymology of the word planet actually comes from the late Old English planet, or from Old French planet, from Latin planeta, from Greek planetes, planetae, wandering stars, or to wander of unknown origin, to spread, or notion of spread out, from Latin planum, flat surface, plane, level, plane. They just added a T to our Earth plane, and everyone bought it.
Here's a picture of Jupiter. This is from 3 separate images, okay, 3 separate periods, but they're always at the same angle. Now, if someone's in the North Pole and then someone's in the South Pole on the bottom side of the globe, they would see Jupiter upside down. Now, if you're going to tell me this was taken with a satellite, even a satellite would move in all different directions. It wouldn't take the same angle over and over again. This one has a moon in front of it, same angle. This one doesn't. This one's a little lighter, just about the same angle, nothing.
Sound check. What's up, people up in the chat? Is this a new channel? It looks like it. It's called Flat Earth Open Mic. Conspiracy Open Mic, Flat Earth, Aliens, UFOs, 9/11, NASA, bankers, etc. Open mic, free speech, not free abuse. Free access. Discussion on any conspiracy or alternative news subject. Boom, boom, boom. 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 Who's reading the chat? Nobody in the chat? I'm doing a hostile takeover. This is my channel now. Is the moderator here? Hello, moderator. Hello. Flat Earth under Flat Earth Church under the firmament. What the fuck? What the fuck did I just join? What is this? Is this a church? Is it a Flat Earth Church? Man, this shit's going crazy. It's like I saw at least 3 other Flat Earth chats right now currently going live. Hello there, Flat Earth Open Mic. I was gonna do a hostile takeover. I guess you heard me. Is this Flat Earth debates? I mean, I'm just kind of curious. I know, like, Flat Earth discussions. Maybe it's the same person or the same channel owner. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm asking. I see him in the chat. He's wishing you good luck. Good luck with the chat. Thanks to everyone in the chat, including Watson. You know who that is. Bum bum bum. Bum bum bum. So what do you got plans? What's your agenda, Flat Earth Mike, Open Mic? What are you aiming for with this channel? I mean, is it gonna be like I guess not a debate forum? It's not a discussion forum. Like, what's your angle? I mean, I see the debate angle and I see the discussion angle. What's your angle? So how is this different from flat Earth discussions? Okay, I guess I understand. Flat Earth discussions only discusses flat Earth stuff. Because I mean, I've been on discussions a few times. They discuss more than flat Earth. Half the time, I've got nothing to say about flat Earth. I mean, don't get me wrong. I give you props for opening it up and letting it go for 3 hours, and having the open mic available for anybody that wants to connect. You know, so I mean, I give you props for that. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just kind of curious. I'm a curious person. Frankly, I'm a bit annoyed by some of the stuff I've seen on the open hangouts. Like I would like to hear it if it's like, if they're on topic talking about conspiracies or important things. I just kind of gets carried away, like to the point where they're talking about 14-year-old girls having sex. That's just not acceptable to me. I that's not why I would like to tune in. That's basically what I'm saying. So maybe having multiple hangouts, people that want to talk about other things, they can come over here. They can partake in the conversation if it's different, and I hope it would be. Do you have plans about I don't care if it's the age of consent stuff. I mean, I don't care. It's just it's a bit too much to just keep talking about it. And also the race thing. Oh, who cares if you're black? Who cares if you're brown? I mean, I'm not a white person. I don't care if a white person. We're all people. It gets a bit redundant. You know what I mean? I don't think any one particular um, race is any better than another one. I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. That's just what I've seen when I've been onto those channels. It's just kind of becomes one of those. One of the things they talk about is you just keep repeating it. I wanted to ask you though, are you planning to keep this like is it going to be a 24-hour schedule on this one? I know, you know what, I've done this. I've done this hangout thing and I've kept it open for 16, 18 hours straight, and it can get a bit tiresome, especially if you care about your channel lasting, because if somebody plays a audio clip or a video clip, it ends up putting a strike on your channel, if it puts a strike on your channel. So you have to kind of be cautious and monitor it. That's what I found to be the most tiresome and boring job. Yeah, I tried it. Like I said, I did it for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Yeah, I mean, I helped out when I was called upon. I helped out. what I can say is it gets tiresome. I mean, if you can, you know, it's a great thing if you can. Um, but you know, there is an alternative. Maybe I'll suggest it to you, just so that you can kind of think about it. You can leave it on for 24 hours without any worry if you don't care about the subscriptions. Pretty much, you want to make like a trademark for yourself, like this is Flat Earth Open Mic or something, you know, and you just make a new account every time if you get strikes or something, and if you don't care about keeping the content, you know, as long as there's an open session, you know, for people to join. I know it might sound a bit radical to keep creating accounts, and I don't even know if that's possible, because I think Google might ask you for like phone numbers and stuff, and they might limit you based on one phone number or an email address or something. I don't know. I don't know what the policy is if you could do that, but if you could, and if you wouldn't care about subscriptions or keeping storage of the data you've collected, uh, and you know, they don't ban it like right away. They give you like one warning, and then you know you can like three strikes gets the channel banned. So you do have a little bit of leeway. So if you get like one strike, you could be like, all right, I'm cautious now. I'm not gonna use this account. I'm gonna use my other account, and you have like a billion accounts. Actually, not a billion accounts. Maybe like 10 accounts. You know. Okay, so they do it by phone number, but you know, you could, you know, technically get multiple phone numbers. I don't know where you're from. From where I am, you know, I could easily manage multiple numbers. You know, I have a what do you call that? Like a prepaid phone card, and I can take my SIM out. I just put a new SIM in, and the SIM is cheap. Like the phone companies would rather give you the SIM for free. Well, I've done all I can for the night. I was trying to get into another channel, um, and I saw all these new ones, and I thought I'd drop in and say hello. Yeah. Well, people are gonna be pissed off no matter what, you know. That's part of the job, I guess, of doing these hangouts is you cannot please everybody. Somebody is going to be offended, especially if that somebody happens to be somebody named A4. A4, if he comes in here, I mean, you can be nice to him and he'll be nice back, and then one day he'll blow and you'll be the target of his videos. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's just, you can't please everybody. You should do your best. Anyway, good luck. I hope this helps out. Think about all that. Um, Maybe having multiple accounts, because you're probably going to end up having to have multiple accounts anyway. You will end up with a strike sooner or later because of somebody, you know, doing something crazy to your channel, or one of your panelists doing something crazy to you, or even by accident. You know, somebody could just open, somebody could be driving by and they have their radio on, and then there's a music playing, and there's a song playing, and the song is copywritten or something, and it's, you know, totally want to, you know, fuck up your channel, but it just happens, you know. So you'll end up having to have multiple channels. Just that's just, you know, something you got to do. All right, buddy. I'll see you later.